I thought my HOA president was just a nosy neighbor who hated my lawn. But after I caught her inside an empty house at 2 a.m., I uncovered a chilling, multi-million-dollar scheme she had been running for years. She was not just enforcing rules, she was hunting us. Quietly, patiently, legally, and the worst part? She is currently standing outside my window. Here is how I accidentally destroyed her life and how she is trying to destroy mine. Everyone loved Karen. She was the perfect community leader. She brought cookies to new neighbors, watered flowers for the elderly, and always smiled at children. But somehow, every person she helped eventually moved away. At first, nobody noticed the pattern. The Wilsons suddenly sold their house after non-stop AHOA violations. Then, an older veteran disappeared after anonymous complaints started piling up against him. Then, a single mother moved out after being reported for suspicious visitors. Karen always acted heartbroken. "Such a shame," she would say softly, but she always knew they were leaving before everyone else. That part bothered me. Then, she focused on my house. At first, it was harmless questions. "Working late again? Someone parked outside your house around midnight." She said everything with a smile. But somehow, she always knew things she should not. One night, I woke up at 2 a.m. and looked outside. Karen was standing across the street, completely still, holding her phone, pointing the camera directly toward my house. The next morning, I got my first HOA violation letter for improper waste disposal. Then another came. Then another. Noise complaints, parking violations, anonymous reports. They always described things that happened when nobody else was around, like someone was watching me constantly. Then I noticed something that made my stomach drop. Every house Karen targeted eventually went up for sale. And every single time, the buyer was connected to the exact same real estate company. A company owned by her son. That is when I realized Karen was not just controlling. She was hunting people out of the neighborhood for profit. I started documenting everything, and then one night I caught her, not with a camera, with keys. Karen let herself into the Wilson family house after midnight. I stayed in my car across the street and recorded everything. For almost an hour, she moved through the dark house with a flashlight, opening drawers and photographing documents. The next morning, I went to the police. But Karen got there first. She told everyone in the neighborhood group that I had been stalking her. Karen had spent years building the perfect image of a trustworthy grandma, so people believed her. I suddenly looked like the unstable neighbor attacking the innocent HOA president. Then, things escalated. My HOA fines tripled overnight. Neighbors stopped talking to me, and one evening, I came home to find Karen sitting on my front porch, smiling. "You should really think about selling," she said quietly. Not angry, not emotional. Then she leaned closer. "People who fight the HOA usually lose everything." That night, I reviewed my footage of her inside the Wilson house again. Karen was not searching randomly. She was looking for one specific file, and when she found it, she smiled directly into the dark room. She never realized the Wilsons had left a hidden, battery-powered security camera running. I paused the video and zoomed in. The document in her hand was not financial. It was a private medical report. Everything clicked. Every resident she targeted had a hidden weakness: debt, critical illness, divorce. Karen was profiling vulnerable people, learning their secrets, and using targeted HOA violations to pressure them into selling their homes cheap to her son. I should have gone public immediately. Instead, I made one final mistake. I confronted her alone. The next night, I waited outside the Wilson house. Around 1:17 a.m., Karen returned with her son. I stayed hidden while they carried boxes of old family documents out of the house. Then I heard Karen laugh, something cold and dead. "You would be surprised how cheap people sell their homes once they are scared enough," she told him. And then she added, "The old veteran almost ruined everything. Good thing nobody believed him either." This was not just a bad neighbor. This was an organized criminal business. This time, I did not go to the local police. I uploaded everything directly to the FBI Fraud Division and the main state Facebook groups. The videos, the timestamps, the footage from inside the Wilson house, and the audio recordings. By the next afternoon, the neighborhood exploded. Former residents started commenting from all over the state. One woman revealed Karen had threatened her with foreclosure right after her husband got cancer. Within 48 hours, the HOA board announced an emergency investigation. 3 board members resigned. Karen's son quietly deleted his real estate website. Then, Karen disappeared. Her house sat dark for 2 weeks until a for sale sign appeared in her own yard. Everyone acted relieved, like the nightmare was over. But a few nights ago, I came home and found a plain white envelope taped to my front door. Inside was a single photograph of my house, taken from across the street at night, just a few hours prior. And on the back, written in thick red ink, were 6 words. You should have minded your own business. The police say they cannot do anything without direct proof it was her. I am currently installing 4 new security cameras, but honestly, I am terrified.